The Hawai'i Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel today and every single Monday throughout all of time. And you know what? It feels like a great day to have a great day, Paul. I am still living high with my pom-poms now. Woo! Off of that Hawaii football win on Saturday. I feel like there is almost like nothing to talk about whatsoever just because it's a different vibe in the air. The air in Hawaii just feels that much better and calmer, and we're also happy because it's been a while since we felt this. It's pretty much the first time since you've been covering UH football, since you've been able to feel this way where you're like, wow, this isn't a fluke type of win. We didn't get lucky. We are a legitimately good team. Because I've dedicated my blood, sweat, and tears, heart, and soul to this program.
Hey, so we have dedicated some sweat to this team. We've been out at those practices. It's hot those days.
We have arrived. No, but in all seriousness, by we, I do mean a lot of just the fans and the media that it has been. And I am 100% serious when this is the first time Paul has really been able to feel kind of this type of excitement.
This is the first time I've ever seen it in person.
Yes.
I've seen it on television when I was small, knee-high to a grasshopper type of, keiki, but it's been a long time since Hawaii football has been like this, and I've been able to see them. Because obviously there was the Mountain West Championship run a couple, I guess it's more than a couple years now. Oof, don't like to think about that.
2019. That's the thing. Like, that's what it feels like right now. Like, I feel like we felt in 2019 and even 2018 to some extent, but feeling like this is a legitimately competitive program that we can look forward to every single game and believe that they can compete and come out with wins no matter who they play. Even if they played at Boise State this season, I would legitimately believe that, hey, this could actually happen. And we'll get to some of the other Mountain West scores as well, because part of the reason why there is so much optimism now about this team, where we said it last week, where if Hawaii beats Utah State, we can continue to have that conversation and that optimism about, wow, there is a chance that this team is vying for a spot in the Mountain West Championship this year. And then if they were to lose, you know what? We'll just be happy, and we're going to get a bowl game likely because they're good enough to at least make it and win the 6 games. And I think you put it perfectly last week, where it's like, you don't want to settle for the consolation prize of making it into the bowl game when you feel like this is a legitimate team that can compete for a championship. Yeah. And what we saw this past Saturday, which we'll get into the details, obviously no game is perfect. There were some stuff that were a little surprising, but for the most part, they made up offensively for some of those errors. The defense showed up. This is all 3 facets of the game showed up on Saturday, and they were able to come out with not just a win. The first half, of course, it was very competitive through 3 quarters. And then that 4th quarter, the offense took over. The defense shut down Utah State, held them scoreless. I mean, it was beautiful football to watch. And again, because this team never got rattled, and we saw it earlier in the season, we brought it up before, but now to see them against a very formidable and top opponent in Utah State, when the errors happened, they just shook it off. And let's go and score a touchdown to answer it. Let's get an interception here just to really shut it down. So to see that much of a team, and those are all the little things that make it more believable that, hey, we can be optimistic now that this team can compete to get into the Mountain West Championship, because we don't see a team that we've seen in the past years where the mistakes happen, they go down in a game, and then all of a sudden they just let the other team in and they can't finish off the football game, and there you go, yada, yada, yada. This is a different team, and I love, and I know all the fans love what they've seen so far in the sense that they can complete the entire football game and they won't get rattled by some of their self-inflicted mistakes that they have made. They just move on and, as I mentioned, go score a touchdown and go get a turnover.
It was everything that I wanted to see out of this team in a game that we had hyped up. A lot of the media had hyped up. A lot of people were looking, at least people who care about the Mountain West, were looking at this game as, all right, one of these two teams has a real opportunity to show that they're able to take another step. And Hawai'i was the one who did it. I mean, as much as I love the offense, and we're going to talk about the offense a ton, I really do want to hammer home the defense. Just, I don't think they could have played much better considering some of the situations they were put in, considering the first half. At times I was like, oh man, they shut it down. I mean, outside of giving up a touchdown on two plays into the second half because of some pretty good field position and whatever, like they shut it down the entirety of the second half and allowed the offense to take full control of this game. It was as convincing of a win, I think, that I've seen from Timmy Chang's program thus far in my time covering them. And I don't want to be like hyperbolic today. I don't want to go too overboard as much as it's fun, and we're going to celebrate. And this is, in a sense, a post-game party continuing on into Monday. But I don't want to make it bigger than it is. But it is also very, very big. I mean, this is a program that had been owning Hawai'i since joining the Mountain West and facing each other since then. Bronco Mendenhall got a lot of respect for him as a head coach and what he's able to do with programs. And this was not, this wasn't even the game that I thought it was going to be honest.
No.
Like at halftime, I think I tweeted it out even, where I'm like, more and more it feels like this is going to come down to who has the ball last. It didn't. And to be fair, it was still a little shaky going into the fourth quarter. The defense stepped up, and that's why I want to give them the credit. Jemai Otis, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, as well. He gets the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week honors after forcing 2 turnovers. A lot of hardware coming Hawai'i's way after this past weekend, and it very much so is deserved. It's nice to see, right? Where a lot of times fans, prognosticators, media members, whatever it may be, we want to see competence in the big moments, in the little moments. You want to see a team be mentally resilient and have the fortitude to come back from negative moments, because you mentioned it. This wasn't a perfect game by any means. And that first half, there was a lot of stress that went into it. And for once, it was Hawai'i making the adjustments at halftime and coming out and just burying a team in the second half, and a good team at that, because we've seen them do that against programs that are a bit overmatched when they face UH. I would not put Utah State in that category. Yeah. And of course, Bryson Barnes injured during this game, and he came in a little bit banged up and whatever. Looked pretty darn good to me still while he was out there. Hawai'i, every bit of it, they deserve this win. They deserve to celebrate it, but they can't celebrate it too long, because now they go on the road, and now it's trying to continue on, because this game did give a lot of new expectations to people where, this is a team who actually is going to have a shot to compete for it. But to do that, they got to win on the road, and they got to do something that they just did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and we will get to more of the game prep for at Colorado State, because, of course, Timmy Chang facing his mentor in Jay Norvell. And when we get to start talking about the Mountain West scoreboards, Colorado State, we don't know what team to expect from Colorado State at this point in the season. Man. But sticking with the just that big win, again, 44-26 over Utah State, and Hawai'i winning just about every single battle when it comes to when we go into our what does Hawai'i need to do in order to come out with a win this game? And they pretty much commanded every facet of the game. Again, offensively, total yards 546 to San Jose State. To Utah State's 435.
They're coming up too. Yeah, we'll get to them eventually.
So 413 yards in the air, 133 rushing yards. Now I know that's net, and Micah was sacked quite a few times, but that's neither here or there, because at the end of the day, we still put up more offensive yardage than the other team and less penalty yards. Holy moly, holding. So fortunately,
Number
Hawaii
72 had a rough night for Utah State, man.
Able to take advantage of the fact that a normally disciplined Bronco Mendenhall type of team, they just need to figure that stuff out. But you know what? That was good. It wasn't us, because Hawaii only having 5 penalties for 44 yards to Utah State's 11 penalties for 73 yards. And yeah, probably half of that, maybe more than half, were just a bunch of holding calls. Obviously, there were some calls that went against us but nonetheless, again, a win is a win. The refs were calling it on both sides, so I guess that's all you can say, except for the no fun police. Kind of like ending the little celebration that Kansei them do after. Like,
everybody
come on
comes
now.
to watch the refs.
Yeah,
they know
no
it.
fun police over there ruining the celebration, but whatever. Time of possession was the other big one. When we talked to Scott Gerard last year, he said to some coaching staffs, time of possession doesn't mean a lot, but to Bronco Mendenhall and this coaching staff, it did. And Hawaii controlled that just over 34 minutes to about 26 minutes for Utah State. So Hawaii did what they needed to do to control all those main facets of the game, on top of playing complementary football, where when you had some of those mental mistakes, like the Billy Gowers take on that very long punt that resulted in very good field position, that resulted in Utah State getting a touchdown pretty much right away to that. But again, Hawaii able to get the ball back, shake it off, answer it back, score a touchdown in their own right, where it's like they didn't get shaken. Billy Gowers was fine after that. So the fact that they were able to come back from a mistake like that when the game was still very close.
Can I be honest? That was the moment that this team won me over from like, oh, this is like a playoff team. Like, this is a good team, nice progression for Timmy in year 4, to winning me over to legitimately be on the like, oh, this is a sleeper for the Mountain West. Because of that resilience, because we've seen this team and program in previous years have situations not exactly like that, but close enough where a turnover happens or you compound an error. I mean, shoot, it happened early in this year too with the Stanford game, and they showed it then, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's Stanford. Stanford isn't, going to be the greatest this year. I do have expectations for Utah State to compete, and to be able to do that in a point where, 17-10 at home, you could have completely thrown it away, and we've seen Hawaii teams do that before. To answer right back,
yes,
it was very, very impressive. And then not only that, they give up the field goal, they give up the lead again right before the half. They still have a minute left, 2 timeouts, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, we can get into Tokyo toe range. That's not a problem. Whatever. We can head into the game or halftime tied. Sweet. They come back. They take the lead. This is like, those are the steps. This is a team that has started to learn how to win and started to learn how to do the things that they need to do to beat these good programs. And Kyle Galdera and I talk about this on our OIA broadcasts all the time. I think it's Darnell Arsenault who calls those middle 4 minutes in each half the fifth quarter. And when Hawaii starts to win those, or at the very least doesn't give up ground in those, this is a team that's good enough to beat you in all other phases. The defense, once again, 2 of 12. This came up on the graphic you brought up. 2 of 12 on third down against this Utah State Aggies offense that came in averaging over 36 points per game. This is the second lowest output of the season that they've had. And guys, the other was against Texas A&M, who's ranked in the, I think, top 15 now. So
are they good or what?
So, this was a very impressive performance from Hawaii. They deserve the credit. They deserve all of the flowers that come from it, because they finally did all of the things that fans have been asking for, media members have been asking for, and I'm sure that the coaches have been asking for as well. Just an awesome win, and I'm glad to see fans still celebrating it.
And I think it is important to mention as well that the health of this team, right?
Oh my
Micah
gosh.
Alejado looks 100% healthy out there. He picked up some yards with
What a
his
welcome
feet. He
bye
got his
week.
first rushing touchdown of his career, something that would have been very difficult to do had he still been kind of the limpy Micah Alejado. Now, every time he takes off, there is still some worry there. But for the most part, he was able to scramble when he needed to. Yeah. So the receiving core was the healthiest it's been since Stanford with the return of Nick Senecal. Now, I know Brandon White got banged up and essentially got knocked out of the game. Hope he is doing well. It was a very difficult hit. Not only the hit he took going up for a high pass, but took it right to the chest. But it was the way that he fell and essentially fell to the ground on a very hard turf surface, like on the crown of his head. So hopefully
scary.
He'll be okay. He was able to walk off on his own accord, so that's always a good sign. But up until that point, you had all of the receivers back, and then you had the guys that were able to, the next man up. They were able to get their reps in, and they had their receptions here and there. I mean, Micah was just throwing it all over the place. I mean, I know Pafele had a big day with the 3 touchdowns in the first half. Jackson Harris was no touchdowns, but had massive catches to put Hawaii in the positions that they were. So just to see when all of them are healthy, which we always thought, but this is, again, the first time that we really got to see them. And they did it against a very quality opponent. It was just, and we told you guys it was going to be fireworks in this game. And I hope everybody was entertained. But that Dijon Benton, I mean, he was a menace from the beginning. Like, he was just.
Thought he was going to get a safety.
He was making that guy that had to block him like basically his child.
Yeah,
because
he had a rough day.
Like,
that guy, he's not having a good film session today.
Dijon Benton was showing why he originally was at USC because he was just, I mean, that guy is going to be next level, and I hope and can imagine he has a bright future and hope he stays healthy for the remainder of the season, because now we'll forgive you for that late hit because that definitely was the correct call for that late hit.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's good football.
He was just fired up.
It's good football. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a little bit out of bounds, but again, we'll forgive you for all of that.
That one guy tackled Micah.
Aiden McComer got a sack.
So I joked about this. I forget with who. I think it was with Christian Shimabuku of Aloha State Daily. I joked. I was like, he's making me look good finally, because during the preseason, he had like a really nice week of training camp. And I was like, man, McComer's going to make it difficult for this coaching staff to keep him off the field. He's just been really quiet. Finally does yeah! I'm like inside, because obviously no cheering in the press box. But inside I'm like, I'm like, finally, that's my boy.
Well, that, and I'm sure you were cheering for your other guy in Brandon White before he got knocked out, had some massive catches.
He's finally turned it on a little bit.
Micah Alejado just putting the football where it needs to be. It was
so the funniest thing,
chef's kiss to watch this offense on Saturday.
Micah was awesome. It was a masterpiece in a lot of ways. He also missed a lot of throws in this game that, like, if he hits, his numbers are even gaudier. Like, that's the craziest part of it, is he played awesome. Obviously, I'm sure he wants the interception back, but we can forgive him.
Make up for it. Never going to play perfect.
Pretty much.
You just got to make up for it.
But, like, this is a guy who normally, sorry, I sound like Chris Collinsworth now. Here's a guy. This is a guy who normally is completing, 70-ish% of his passes? Like, add in 5, 6, 7 more completions, you feel pretty good about the stat line as it is, and you're talking maybe 500 plus yards. So we haven't even seen this offense running at its very best. I think that's something that I do take away from this as well, is they put up 44, and he missed some throws, and they had a turnover. They had, like, there's still more meat on the bone, and I would take this every single time.
We'll take all of it. And there is still so much. Like, I have a whole bunch of notes, and there are a lot that I haven't even touched on yet. But we do need to take a break. When we come back, we will actually hear a good snippet of what head coach Timmy Chang had to say in the post game for all of you guys that have not been able to watch or listen to it yet. And then we'll continue our conversation, because, again, I have so many bullet points that I took away from this that I still have yet to mention, and some of our other takeaways and some key plays that happened in this game. So don't go anywhere. We'll hear from Coach Timmy when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Bracht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Hello and welcome. And I see all of the comments and good vibes in our YouTube chat, so be sure to chime in on there if you have anything to say about the game, or you can text us at 808-888-KG1. That's 808-888-5481, as I do have the pom-poms in my hand for those of you guys that are not watching, because it's just so excited to celebrate. And again, we'll get into the rest of the season, a lot more to go, yada, 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 but we will use our Overreaction Monday to overreact about the big win against Utah State.
Today is the fun day
party
to do it.
day. And then we got to get serious. You know, we're media and we do this show. We can do it. Now,
but we also haven't gotten a chance to talk about it yet.
The football team obviously needs to focus on the next game, but we don't need to do that yet.
Already.
So we can still continue to celebrate. But want to let you guys hear. Thanks, Colin. He said, love the pom-poms. I have to. I don't know how many times I can use it. So it's a very happy day today. We're going to hear from what head coach Timmy Chang had to say following that massive win over Utah State. And it just starts with his response after being asked about being a bit more aggressive in this game. Again, some plays a little suspect, but for the most part, Hawaii was very, very aggressive, and we love to see it, and it worked out in their favor for us a few of those times. But here is head coach Timmy Chang in the postgame.
You know, I think we just look for opportunities, and if opportunities present themselves, we make the most of it. But you know, with us, I think we really focus in and lock in on base fundamental and details of very specific things within our football team. And if things present themselves, we go. But we really want to be good at just the basic fundamentals of football. And so with the onside kick, it presented an opportunity. The thing I love most that you're seeing this season is that the resilience of the guys. You know, I tell them at halftime that we're going to do it on both sides of the ball, very communicative, and they're excited and they want it to happen. And when it doesn't happen, okay, defense is up. You know, there's a touchdown that's scored, and then we come back, and then it's just business as usual. And that's what you see out there.
You know, you never want injuries, but injuries sometimes have a silver lining of allowing you to develop depth. And it looks like that's what's happening in this team in several positions. Could you address that?
Yeah, I think the guys understand that when we walked into the season, we wanted to walk in as healthy as possible. Given the circumstances of football and as physical as the game is, you know, we try to take care of them, but we had 6 games right out the bat, and then things happen. And you know, the guys also during that, you know, our offseason, that 8-month stretch, when you come here to play for the University of Hawaii, we really want tough guys. And we want, and not just tough guys, we want tough-minded guys. And so we understand that guys are injured and guys guys will play through being hurt, but it's a next man up mentality, and we do a great job of, you know, with the last 3 years kind of just weeding out guys that just don't fit our program, guys that, you know, we want to represent this school, our football team, and especially this state.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. Could you talk a little bit about the impact of getting Nick Senecal back tonight out there? Obviously, he's not the leading receiver, but kind of his presence, his impact on opening up guys like Buffele and Jackson to have even bigger games.
Sure. Getting Nick back is huge for us. He's a veteran receiver that understands what we're trying to do. And when you see him out there with Buffele, with Jackson, you know, with Brandon White, with Carson, and then Tama comes in, and Blaze, and these other guys, I mean, you know, it's a really good receiving core. And we're proud of it. We're proud of the development of it. And, you know, it's these guys started, you know, guys like Nick, you know, this is his 4th year. And Buffele, it's his 4th year, and they understand what we're trying to do, and you're starting to see our quarterback just find these guys and just continue to, you know, make good decisions down the field and put the ball in their hands.
Coach, talk about the staying on offense. Talk about the resiliency of Micah tonight. And obviously the second half where the offense kind of was able to open up there a little bit, but just the resiliency of Micah and commanding this offense tonight.
Micah's tough. Micah is as tough-minded as they come. Freshman birthday today. But he just, all he wants to do is play well for his teammates and lead them. And I mean, he's a warrior, and that's what you want playing your quarterback position. And so he did a great job. He's going to look at the tape and he's going to see that when certain teams try to get into certain looks and do certain things to us that he's going to be able to go with the ball in certain looks. But I thought he did really well. Just when he's on and just distributing the ball, he is. I mean, you get to see some of the numbers that he's putting up.
Coach, what would you say about the way the defense played, especially in the second half?
Yeah, tough. Our defense is tough, and when you talk about tough guys, there's a bunch of them on defense. The biggest thing is making smart football players, disciplined football players, detailed guys, and you want them to carry it both on and off the field, and that's a locker room full of guys that do that, and so very proud of them and how they played. We had our defensive goals, and I thought they did a great job of containing a really high-powered offense. Some play spit out. I think they got us on a trickeration on one, and then leaked another guy out on another. So those things happen sometimes, but for the most part, man, they're tackling. The front seven continues to put pressure on quarterbacks and make it hard to run. I love what our back end with our safeties and our corners are doing, covering.
You spoke to this during the week about Utah State and how good they've been in the Mountain West over these last decade plus years. How does it feel to have performed that way in your last opportunity against this team as they move on, and given that they had Hawaii's number for a long time?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just Utah State in general has just predominantly been a really great football team in the Mountain West since I got in, and Blake Anderson and some of the other coaches, and now you put a great coach like Bronco Mendenhall to lead that group. That's a great program. They're gonna win a lot of football games, and so just for us, I think more so it's just controlling what we can and who's on the schedule, and as the divide happens of the Mountain West to the Pac-12, it's just controlling what we can and playing these teams, and we don't know when we're going to see them again, but just having good hard-fought battles. But like you've mentioned, we've had a lot of history with a lot of these teams that we won't be able to play, but there's still history with a lot of teams that will remain in the Mountain West, and so we just look forward to playing all of them and taking them one at a time and just growing within everyone.
And that was UH football head coach Timmy Chang, and just a good portion of what he had to say in that post game. If you guys missed it, there's a little bit more. You can go to the Hawaii Athletics YouTube channel for the video version of the full press conference as well. But again, like as Timmy mentioned, one game at a time, and every time he kind of gets thrown questions like that, to his credit, he is 100% one game at a time, because he will always go back to that, and they should. They should only worry about the game in front of them. Like I said, we can have fun with it. We can talk about potentially competing in a Mountain West championship. That's our job. That's what we want to get the fans excited for. But you got to take care of what's in front of you. You celebrate it when you do, and now you move on to only focusing on Colorado State. Again, another on-the-road opponent who played Fresno State very tough and won at home. They beat Fresno State 49-21. Colorado State beat Fresno State, and as we know, that's a game that Hawaii wishes they had back here at home against Fresno State, where it's like, dang, we should be undefeated in the Mountain West at this point. But again,
in theory, we once again, Paul Brecht, Ku'ulei Agbayani, known members of the UH football team, theoretically, like, that 2-point conversion is good, and Hawaii might be, and they might win that game in overtime, whatever. By the way, Hawaii hasn't played, I think, an overtime game since like 2018. I was looking through the records the other day. I was like, really? It makes sense, because I'm like, oh, well, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but yeah, just
total tangent. But yeah, no, it really is crazy, but it also shows you why it is so important to take it week over week and one game at a time. And the funny thing, I made a face when you were bringing that up, and it's The difference this year is I believe Timmy when he says that. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe the team is actually focused week over week, and it's just one game at a time and whatever. And, like, the focus is on winning every single game because the talent is there. And it's not to imply that they weren't focused in previous years or whatever it may be, but there's a different level with this team. There's a different focus with this team when it comes to understanding the moment that previous teams haven't really had. And to be fair, I was ready to question if this team had it after that Arizona game. I understand Micah Alejado was hurt in it, but there's so many moments where I was like, oh, like, okay, maybe we're not ready to compete for the big leagues. To this team's credit, they have proven in every opportunity since that at the very least they're ready to challenge, because I understand the loss against Fresno State's frustrating and whatever, but they're ready to challenge in the conference, and I think that's really, really cool to see because it's a program that's grown together over the past few years. You know, these are a lot of the same guys who were here in those not so great seasons. They saw the other side of it, and they've kind of seen the rebuild through. So it's part of why it's so special to now see all these guys have the success that I know that they have worked so hard for.
Yeah, and just the coaching staff, right? Working hard to rebuild this program from like the depths of nothing.
Was dead. I mean, it was ready to be dead.
The fans were done. They like got chased away. The alumni felt like they were chased away. It's like I feel like the TG era you just want to like completely forget about, and that's why I always reference back to 2019. Like, this program can be good. You can see that even without a lot of the resources that other programs have, this team and the University of Hawaii football team can compete in this new era, right? I know everyone likes to remember the glory days, and it is the glory days for a reason back in like that 06, 7, 8, 9 type of year. But college football then is a whole different animal than it is now. And when you look back at 2019, you're like, all right, even though it was pre-NIL, it was still the new era-ish where it's like there was a lot of, like, recruiting is at another level, the transfer portal, you know, tampering that never gets caught, all of that stuff. And to see it be successful with still very limited, I mean, no bleeping stadium, for goodness sake. And Timmy Chang still has to go out there and recruit guys based on the fact that we will not have a stadium until 2029, right? So all of these things that it's just nice to see it pay off for this coaching staff and, yes, the players that have been here for a long time. And I think that's part of how you can see this program continue to build is if we can keep a lot of this continuity and keep a lot of the veterans here, because Utah State, they had like 80-something new guys, and you could kind of see, even though Bronco Mendenhall is trying to instill his culture, there's only so much you can do with what little time you have with new players. But you can see this Hawaii team, and we talked to Chris Brown about it last week on just the mentality, and I know he always brings that up, but now you can really see it on the field where they are so disciplined, they are played together, they are just at this next level.
They've grown up in front of our eyes.
Right? Physically, we always knew they had it, but mentally, they are there. Again, you're not going to play perfect football. There are going to be mental mistakes, but the fact that they can overcome it is what has completely changed with this team, and why we legitimately think, and this is more than positive Paul status, where just on paper and seeing how the Mountain West has been so far, Hawaii can legitimately compete and try to get into the Mountain West Championship game this year. Like, bowl game, as you said, Paul, bowl game feels like the consolation prize at this point.
That's
because
the expectation. Like, that's
barring any injuries, you know, and again, it's football. There's still a lot more season to go. But barring any injuries, if this team stays 100% healthy like we saw, that is what we get.
They're
and
dangerous.
There is no reason why we can't believe that team that we saw in Utah State, when they are healthy, they can make it to this Mountain West Championship game.
It went from higher register, yes, this team could compete, it could, to all of a sudden, oh no, they're here. They're ready to fight for it. And once again, this is where the mindset comes into it, and that's why I'm glad to hear Timmy Chang and the players and the coaches all talk about it, and they're all aligned in this thought process of, listen, we got to take care of one game at a time. We take care of business that's right in front of us, and we can worry about the rest that's down the road when it comes. But man, it's fun to think about all of a sudden, huh?
Just a little bit. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will just kind of tell you a little bit more about how much we believe that this team can compete and try to get it into the Mountain West Championship game, because you missed some of the Mountain West scores this past weekend, as if we didn't talk about it already, the parity in the Mountain West this season, this conference is wide open for the taking. So we'll talk about that when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. I told you it was going to be a party. I had to put in some like new music that would like get the dance party going.
I'm just laughing because it says music.
Oh, yeah.
And we have 4 different, you have music, get on my level, music. It's funny to me. And so the best part is, obviously, since it's new music, I have no idea what it sounds like. So that was
even
like,
if it was labeled.
Yeah, yeah. But that was like a genuine reaction from me where I'm like, okay, here we go. So I didn't preview, like I haven't previewed any of the other ones yet. I don't plan on it. I think it's more fun. It's when you get the genuine reaction to it. Just like our genuine reactions to what was a pretty dominant win by the Rainbow Warriors last weekend.
To be honest, I even forget what some of them sound like. So it was kind of a surprise to me. Because it was just like I went through some of our music stuff and I'm like, oh, this one sounds good. And that was the first and last time I listened to it and then put it into the system. So there you go. By the way, thank you everyone commenting in the YouTube that they like the pom-poms. Again, I have to bring out the pom-poms for the win because we are having a party this morning celebrating that win at Utah State. And as we were talking about, because we were saying it last week where if Hawaii, they got that big win on the road at Air Force, obviously it'll be another tough road trip going to Colorado State this Saturday. But playing a worthy opponent in Utah State this past Saturday, well coached, all of that, a dual threat quarterback in Bryson Barnes. I know he got knocked out of the game for a little bit, but nonetheless, he was doing what he needed to do against Hawaii. And for them to come out with not only just a win, but that dominant win that we saw starts to make you really believe that we weren't entirely had the tinfoil positive Paul hat on this whole time had already been talking about, is this a chance that Hawaii can make it to the Mountain West Championship game? And what we saw, and if everybody stays healthy especially, there is no doubt in my mind that down the stretch that Hawaii can really compete for that like top 2 in the Mountain West to make it into the championship game. Because going back to the game itself, and I'm mentioning everyone's healthy, we saw the danger that this Micah Alejado and this offensive receiving core can do. And then you know what they did in the second half? They started utilizing the run. And then Utah State is like, what? We don't know what to do anymore, because you got to be honest and try to guard this receiving core as best you could. But then you started seeing some screen passes. Then you started seeing Landon Sims do some work.
Well,
and then you're just like,
handoffs out of this offense as well.
And then Micah Alejado having enough room to get that rushing touchdown, right?
Well, and that's why it's so important that he's healthy, right? Because it adds just another element to this offense where the passing attack is just... I got a chance to watch from a different angle for a bit of the game this past Saturday. It's almost all 22-esque. I was watching some of these throws, and the windows that he was making these throws into are just...
Dude, that one to Pafeli in the back of the end zone.
It was stupid. Like, it legitimate and stupid complimentary, not derogatorily. But
the young kids say it.
But it just is, it's been an impressive progression for him, right? Because after Fresno State, I know people were all up in arms and bad game, blah, 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 blah. And he took ownership of it. He said he had to be better, and he understood that. Well, guess what? Since then, he's been pretty good. Back-to-back games, over 500 yards as an offense. Back-to-back games, scoring 44 points. And I understand these aren't the most impressive defenses in the Mountain West Conference, but nonetheless, you still have to go out and do it. And I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that there is complementary football finally being played. And that's something you brought up at the start of the show, where all three phases are doing a little bit of something, and all three phases are able to pick up each of the other ones, where you look at the special teams, and there were moments of like, ugly, right? You know, there are moments that just had you scratching your head. And the defense, to its credit, stood on its head a lot of these times. I went back and I listened to our show from Friday, and I was like, you know, Scott Gerard, he talks about 3 and out or a touchdown. Can this defense hold them to a couple of field goals here and there? Because we can put up touchdowns, and we know that Hawai'i has the ability to put up field goals. So it's like, can you kind of match bar for bar there? And then special teams, their coverage was outstanding for the majority of the night. The offense continued to produce. It was a very fun game, and if that's the team that you get week over week, that's why we talk about this team competing against some really quality programs. Because as much as, yes, I do think they can compete for a Mountain West Championship berth, there's still a lot of work to do, and there are multiple teams without a loss yet. And guess what? You see 2 of them. So if you take care of business yourself, you get a chance to go in.
And even the teams with losses, anything can happen. So taking a look at the Mountain West scoreboard and what happened this past weekend, on Friday, we'll go back to Friday, where Colorado State not just beat, but like put a whooping on Fresno State, 49-21. And this was a Colorado State team that was kind of like squeaking out some wins, had some bad losses during the season, and now they're 1-1 in the Mountain West, beating Fresno State, who is previously 2-0 in the Mountain West. And obviously we know, like we just mentioned, going back to that game when they had to play Hawai'i, UNLV, the only undefeated team overall. Now, obviously undefeated in conference is also San Diego State and Boise State, but UNLV 6-0, already punched their ticket into a bowl game at minimum, but they almost went down at home to Air Force, who everyone talks about like, oh, that wasn't that great of a win. And by everyone, I mean, just obviously not us in here, but there are some people that didn't really entirely believe in this Hawai'i team, even after that game against Air Force. I understand being a bit more conservative in your optimism for this team, because again, we're not used to this type of success. It's been a while. But UNLV at home, almost falling to Air Force. It would have went to overtime had Air Force made their field goal. That's how close it was.
I can't believe they missed it, dude.
51-48. And the fact that UNLV, I mean, that defense allowed Air Force to score 48 points on them too. I'm like, all right, if Air Force can score that many on UNLV, what can a healthy Hawaii offense score on this UNLV defense? And, you know, my entirely, like, my advice I always give, score more than the other team. My game plan going into every single game.
Like, we kind of talk about the return of the old Hawai'i, the feeling of those old
Hawaii
teams.
and the over, guys. Are we back to Hawaii and the over officially?
But that's kind of what I'm getting at is like, we joke, oh, score more than the other team. The best Hawai'i teams, that was really, or at least the ones that I am familiar with, the best Hawai'i teams are the ones that could just put up more points than you, and their defense would do just enough to beat you. And I'll say this. I have a little more confidence in this defense than that to do more than just enough to get you a win. Like, I think this defense can win you football games at times, and if this offense is for real, if this is the group, do I think they're going to score 44 points every single game? No. But if this is an offense that averages more than 30 points per game, by the way, all of a sudden, Paul's Parlor, we are so back. Speaking of,
that's why I like how
the
what we saw.
interceptions are over, unfortunately.
I know, but what we
okay.
saw, I feel validated in my previous prediction about like Kansei not hitting a 50-plus yarder, because what we saw this past weekend is what I imagine. It's like Hawaii will always get closer. They will move the football, and they will get close offensively so that Kansei wouldn't have to hit. And now we know it hit. But that was the reasoning, and what we saw this past weekend, I'm like, there you go. That is what I envisioned, where why Kansei wouldn't have to try to attempt anything more than 50 yards, because this offense can at least, even when the time is running out, they can get close enough for Kansei to have a more, well, now he's just making everything. I mean, tied with Jason Elam, so here we go on. Why do they always like to break the records on the road with us?
That's true.
Remember when Lili Wahine Kapu,
I was just about to bring that up. It's scoring their 1,000th point. It's all the fun stuff. Even coaches get like big wins on the road. Didn't Laura Beeman get one of her biggest wins, like 200th win or whatever with the program on the road? They love doing it away from the islands. What the heck,
oh my
guys?
Gosh. Anyways, real quick, getting back to the Mountain West. So UNLV almost having to go to overtime, and now we can speculate what would have happened in overtime, but for the most part, Air Force kept it close that entire time to almost force overtime against an undefeated UNLV. San Jose State goes down to Wyoming, who we thought, and I was watching some of that game. Wyoming does not look like a good football team. Now, this was at Wyoming, so it was probably a little cold, but nonetheless, Wyoming, who we thought were probably, I mean, right now they are at the bottom of the barrel for the Mountain West, and that's what they look like. But a San Jose State team who we thought offensively have a lot of optimism for.
What, third in the preseason poll?
What, Stutz has done over there. I mean, Danny Scudero, I've talked about him a lot off air. Like, this guy looks like he could be a problem for the Hawaii defense. And the beginning of this game looked like it was going to be a blowout.
I remember you texted us.
I'm like, damn.
Danny Scudero.
And then Wyoming, their defense all of a sudden showed up in that second half and held San Jose State scoreless while scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter against the Spartans for the 35-28 win. And again, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that just happened. New Mexico, they did lose to Boise State 41-25, but that game was close too. It was 17-14 going into halftime. New Mexico just down ever so slightly against the Boise State team. They weren't necessarily the dominant force that they have been. Another one, they put up a lot of points in that fourth quarter. And then San Diego State, I am actually starting to give them a bit more credit than I have been giving them this year, because yes, they played a Nevada team that now they are the bottom of the barrel in the Mountain West, blew them out 44-10. But that defense that San Jose State has, luckily, we have experience with good defenses, but that is going to be one game at a time. I know Colorado State is first, but San Diego State, man, they are looking like a very, very solid squad.
They terrify me.
They are starting.
I'm glad you
brought them up. They are really starting to scare me. And that what's left on the schedule so far, that is honestly the only team. Luckily, we play them at home, so we need you guys to show up for that one.
They scare me. Well, especially because it feels like every year that's always been like the pinch point. That's always been the turning point. It's always been kind of, okay, if Hawaii wins this game, they can be a bowl team, and they always lose the darn game by a field goal or two, or they have some stupid error late. And now this San Diego, and that was when I thought, the Aztecs stunk. Now I think they're good. Yeah. Now I look at that Jaden Denical, he's a monster. The deep ball he throws is ridiculous. Their defense has been outstanding. So that's going to be a massive, massive game. I'm glad you brought them up.
Yeah, like I said,
Hawaii in the over, though.
Trey White's going to get lost getting
once again, what did John Schneider say about Aaron Judge before Game 5 or whatever, or Game 4? Hopefully he has a bad breakfast, bad dinner, and a rough night's sleep.
There you go.
That's all I can root for. I'll never root for injury, but I can root for you being tired.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to close out hour number 1 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Told you, we got the jams. It's a party.
This is like one that I'd pick.
See, like people thought I was joking on Twitter when I was like, join us for the Monday party.
Yeah,
like,
we're
this is
vibing
the party.
today.
Come on, we got to get the dance going. Hope you guys are vibing as well. Some of you might have the day off. If some of you are driving around, feel free to vibe with us and party. And of course, on our YouTube channel, it is a party. Thank you guys for tuning in, celebrating the UH football win over Utah State on Saturday, and just essentially the vibes that we feel now and the confidence having that a lot of people have in this football team. And I know it's okay to still have your reservations because as someone that's a Chicago Bears fan and Paul being a Jets fan, you're so used to your teams being a certain way, and you will have your reservations regardless. But and of course the football team has now shifted their focus to Colorado State, as they should. But we can still enjoy it while we can until we can't anymore. And hopefully by the time we can't, it will be when Hawaii makes it into the CFP playoff, because they are going to win the Mountain West Championship. That's what's going to happen. We're manifesting it now. Manifesting it with the pom-poms that a lot of you guys say you appreciated. Shout out to the YouTube chat. Shout out to Todd Furubayashi, his first time YouTube commenter in here, saying, hell yeah, I have so much hope for the program. Serendipity, the brain trust at the state managed to get the stadium condemned, that this forces Hawaii to play on campus. This will galvanize a fan base of students. I like that. So we see a lot of the students come out. And again, you put a product back out there, the students see other students at schools that win football games. They want that too. There is no FOMO. So the football team continues to put out that good product. We will see the students continue to show up time in and time out. Even when it moves, they want to be a part of it. If this program is winning, the students will come. They will show up.
It's the old adage. I say old adage. It's literally from a movie. If you build it, they will come. And Timmy Chang and these coaches, they have built up this program. And to their credit, the players who have stayed, they've helped build up this program. The fans, the donors, the sponsors, the people who stuck around and stuck by Timmy's side despite maybe some lackluster results in the first couple of years. They deserve this. And the students, they also deserve this. We've talked before with some student athletes, and we've talked before with just some students. And, you know, the talk is always, man, I wish our football team was better. Mm-hmm. I wish we could go, and it's a place where you spend a full Saturday getting ready for the game. You're tailgating or getting ready, pregame, and whatever it may be. You go, you enjoy, you're loud. And to the credit, the students have been showing out for all of these home games this year. It has been awesome to see. And if that is added back to our commenters' credit, I mean, that is something that is, you can't really repeat it with anything else. As much as I love the uncles and aunties and everybody who loves Hawaii football, at college football events, you need the college students. You have to give them a reason to be there, and they finally are doing that, and it's been so fun to see.
Also, just shout out to all the fans that showed up on Saturday, because it was packed. There was a lot of you. It was loud, and I know there was some, concern that, hey, if the games are free on TV, are people still going to buy tickets? And again, I say to you, this is an investment, right? Hawaii's already an expensive place to live. If you put out a good product, people will want to go to the games, because it is a different environment to go, to be part of that crowd, to get loud and yell a lot louder than you probably could so you don't disturb your neighbors watching it at your home. They'll come if the product is there, and the product is there that we saw on Saturday especially. Fans will still want to show up, because they feel like buying a ticket is a good investment with their money, because they will go, they will be entertained, they will bring their family and create all of these lasting memories watching a very, very good football team. But part of making it accessible for everyone is so that people who will be able to watch it and not have to pay and see how good this football team, and then they'll get excited to come to the game. So it kind of all is coming full circle. So it's been amazing to see, and we're way up against the clock because I just cannot stop talking about how amazing this past Saturday
had a
was.
Second hour.
Yeah, stick around for hour number 2, live on YouTube as well. We'll be right back on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network.
to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube this and every single Monday, or just tuning in on radio, online, or on demand, weekday mornings from 8 to 10. We appreciate you. Continue to chime in on the live chat on YouTube, or you can text us at 808-888-KG1. That's 808-888-5481. There was a more recent comment in our YouTube chat. Let's see. We got a Sean Spencer. Shout out to all of you guys. We got some new people in here. We appreciate it. Let's see. Sean Spencer saying, going to work on Monday is better when Hawaii football wins. Love the show. Thank you. And we love all of you guys that continue to tune in as well. Again, we are having our overreaction celebratory Monday, which is a lot better than what overreaction Mondays are usually dubbed for, and overreacting about your team being awful. We don't have to talk
about the New York Jets today.
Yeah, we are not talking. And the Chicago Bears did not have a chance to break my heart yet, so that's why I'm still continuing to be positive. So we're all good.
I should have known that the Jets were losing as soon as Hawaii won, because I've said this on the show before. One of my green football teams can win per weekend, or I'll be okay if one of my green football teams win. And I'll be honest, I don't really care about the Jets because I'm numb to it at this point. I'm way more riding the sugar high of Saturday. I mean, what a performance from the Rainbow Warriors. Obviously, we just talked about it for an entire hour. But,
and we're going to continue to talk about it.
But, oh, gosh. I very much so am excited about the direction for Hawaii football right now.
By the way, someone texting in as well. Guys, at the Wahine volleyball game was DMK, Donna Mercado Kim, seated next to Wendy Hensel. Maybe a new era of cooperation.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
And, I think with DMK, and I know that she gets a lot of flack. I have given her a lot of flack too. But when a lot of things transpired and I watched a little bit more of these sessions, it did seem more of she was just frustrated with how things were being run. And we were frustrated with how things were being run. Nothing to do with not supporting the coaches and the student athletes. It's like, if you're taking taxpayer money, are you using it wisely and managing it the best that you can? Now I think we are starting to see, with the complete change in leadership, with President Wendy Hensel, who by all accounts supports athletics. When I talk to some people in upper campus,
she's all over with athletics.
But she's also not someone that she supports athletics, but it's a change where I talked to one of my close friends who works in upper campus, that her vision is to kind of separate athletics and upper campus again. Turn it over. Remember how we talked about Lassner wanted to have this overall control of athletics?
Well, he was a control freak.
Big revenue generator, and that just didn't go according to plan. Where I think, especially because President Wendy Hensel has someone like Matt Elliott, who she can trust as well, that now you can begin to see where she will focus on the educational portion, as she should, because it's still a very, very top-tier school. Matt Elliott now is here, and he can lead this athletics department program. But yet, at the same time, their relationship, you can tell that they do have a very, very good relationship and can work together. And I think the same goes for the Ledge now with DMK, who has been critical, but now she sees that there is very competent and highly qualified leadership in the educational side, or overall, I guess, with President Wendy Hensel. And I'm sure she sees it with Matt Elliott, that, all right, this guy seems like he knows what he's doing as well, where you could start to see less pushback from the Ledge, because there is more confidence that, hey, these people that are in charge now, they seem like they'll manage the taxpayer money a bit better. And a good point out by you, though, for that, shouting that out, that seeing them sitting together, because I think that is a good sign, because I don't think I've ever really seen DMK sit with other people.
Sign, at least.
Yeah, it's not a bad sign.
I'll take it. Yeah. And at the very least, man, how nice would it be to have collaboration between the two? And you sit here and bring up a good point. I can't fault anyone for being like, okay, what are you doing with this money? And I mean, I don't know. I get upset when I invest my money in things or I invest other people's money. I tell people, I give advice to other people, and it comes back looking stupid because you lose, or because you're wasting money, or because whatever, a whole bunch of things. I do understand getting frustrated over that. So, the hope is that an era of collaboration also alongside an era of winning, helps bring an era of just sustenance and success to UH. And I think that's what everybody wants to see. And I think that's something that we often forget. And I'm not going to give a whole diatribe about society in general, but, I think that's something we do forget is like, I think the Ledge also wants UH to be successful, just as much as the fans do. Maybe it's for a little bit different reasons or whatever it may be, but like we're all pulling in the same direction. We all want things to be as good as possible for the student athletes, for fans, for coaches, for everybody involved. It's just everybody has a little bit of a different idea of how to get there.
But like our commenter said, and it's kind of been the sentiment across, we've been saying it since the beginning of time. Everybody knows that when Hawaii football wins,
man, the vibes are just better,
a different vibe in the air. Like nothing else really matters. Now the other sports do matter, but
absolutely.
For a long time you're trying to find joy in some of the other sports, as you continue to do as well. But when Hawaii football is winning, it takes over the entire state. And I love the fact that when we go back to Matt Elliott and Wendy Hensel making the football games free across the state, and everybody on all islands get to, and not just the people on the continent that would get it for free, but more importantly and most importantly, the peoples that are part of, or the people on these islands and part of this state get to enjoy the success so far that this football team has been having. And then that's where it really feels like now as a state, because I told you guys before where when we went to Kauai and some of them over there were like, yeah, we don't really feel like Hawaii or University of Hawaii sports is for the state. It just seems like an Oahu thing because the focus is always on Oahu. Mm-hmm. Now I hope a lot of people that are listening and maybe tuning in from other islands are feeling like that because they get to be a part of it and watch these games for free now on Spectrum and Hawaiian Telecom. So anybody that has cable, and then of course everyone in the continent, they can either watch it on the Mountain West app or they can watch it on their Spectrum networks as well. So all of that goes into adding to this positivity that we can have now. Sorry, I just got thrown off by Felipe's comment. Where are the Timmy Chang haters now?
Back under their rocks.
Yeah, all of the haters are going back. We will still stay steadfast, though, because it has paid off, where I mentioned this is like the traditional year 3 of when coaches take over. And by year 3, you're expecting things to turn. And this is the year 3. Year 1, I know it is year 4, but the year 1 was essentially a wash because it was about rebuilding just the culture, bringing the fans back,
a foundation.
All of that stuff. He needed to work so hard
starting from ground zero.
Decimated program, and now we can start to see things really, like the football coaches, the players that have been here for a while get rewarded. Speaking of being rewarded, we didn't get to mention this in the first hour, but Mountain West honors, no surprise there, going out to not 1, not 2, but 3 of our players here in earning Old Trapper Mountain West Players of the Week. You got Micah Alejado there.
Guy's pretty good.
Yeah, just a little bit for his performance as Freshman of the Week. Jemiah Otis was Defensive Player of the Week. And no surprise here again, Kansei Matsuzawa earned Special Teams Player of the Week honors. As we mentioned, tying Jason Elam's record for the most consecutive field goals made at 20. I think, Paul, you told me that Steven Tsai had tweeted that Jason Elam will be in attendance at Colorado State.
Rumor on the street, allegedly.
Oh, allegedly.
I don't want to lock Elam in case, maybe. Who knows? Sorry, my fault.
Oh, yeah, the way Steven put it exactly said, word on the boulevard is Hawaii football legend Jason Elam will be attending Saturday's UH game in Fort Collins. Elam and Kansei, of course, share that record with 20 consecutive field goals made. So that will be a full circle moment. Obviously, it will be nice if Kansei breaks it. That will just go a really long way. But
please.
Jason Elam.
Please.
Don't be the one that we blame for this record.
And I will. Don't you worry.
And the crazy thing, and the thing with Kansei, right, is that it's not like he had chip shots the entire time with all 20.
It's been a little bit of everything.
Like over 50 yards, fire drill field goal. Like he has just been so steady. Luckily, he wasn't thrown off.
We get at least one UH fire drill field goal per season.
Yeah. He wasn't thrown off by the refs breaking up their post kick celebration because they were able to do it again.
Those refs, by the way.
But then they were able to do it again, and it seemed like the refs let them do it. So,
which makes it even more ridiculous in the first place. Like, it's unbelievable. But to your point, by the way, on Kansei Matsuzawa, 19 of 19 this season, made his last 20 consecutive field goals. He's only got one kick from inside 20 yards. He's 1 of 1 from 20 to 29. And then 16 of his other 17 makes are from either 30 to 39 or 40 to 49. Plus, of course, he does have the 150-yarder this year. Paul's Parlor, check. He has been exactly what you want to see in the development of a kicker, and I'm really, really happy for him. I'm glad that Jason Elam will be around, or allegedly will be around. Word on the boulevard. I love that guy.
You know
He
what?
kills me.
There's a lot of NFL teams that could use a kicker. I'm just saying that. That's the crazy thing. As we know, Jason Elam went on to have a really good NFL career, and if Kansei follows suit, considering he's been able to do so well this season, and that's his goal. Like, he wants to play American professional football in the NFL, and I think that's what has kept him so focused, where he's not rattled and can just hold steady this entire time, is because his end goal is to make it into the big leagues. And this is shaping up pretty well for Kansei Matsuzawa, and a full circle moment that, hey, you look at how this season is going so far. I mean, there was I forgot what team it was, but the guy that said, I was just about to go back to substitute teaching, and then he got the call, because they need kickers right now in the NFL. So it might almost work, because Kansei is a senior. Now, we don't know what the Diego Pavia ruling, yada, yada, yada.
At this point,
Kansei is a senior. Go into the NFL draft at a moment that teams are really kicker heavy. Hey, I'll say this. I do have it from a couple of different sources that scouts have taken notice of Kansei, so much so that they've chatted a little bit when the team goes to the continent and stuff like that. They're aware of Kansei in the NFL. I'll say that. I was chatting with somebody else this past weekend, and they were very complimentary of just the way that Kansei prepares. The exact quote they said was, he prepares like a pro, in terms of on the sideline, his demeanor, his thought process. He's locked in. He understands, all right, this is my job. I'm going out there to do this. He's very matter of fact. He's very routine oriented. And it's a lot of the stuff that you want to see out of a professional kicker. And to his credit, through 7 games this season, Kansei has looked every part of a professional kicker. Now, does that mean he gets drafted? No, probably not. I mean, the kickers being drafted just in general is pretty rare, and also teams tend to go longer and longer without drafting them. That being said, he's, there's no reason he wouldn't be a priority, undrafted free agent type of thing, because realistically, that's almost better as a kicker. You kind of get a chance to pick your spot. Yep.
How nice would that be, as well as somebody and I don't know how important this is to him, but somebody from Japan, right? How important would it be for him to get a chance maybe on the West Coast? We've joked about this before about, the 49ers could use a kicker, though it seems they've found one at this time.
They could use everything.
But, Michael's Los Angeles Rams, I know, what's his name? Cardi there, the former Stanford kicker. He's been struggling as of late. Would it be nice to stay on the West Coast so that perhaps it's a little easier for his family to come see?
Wait, I didn't see the update. Is Eddie Pinheiro, did he really
He got stepped on.
Yeah, I know, but is
I don't know
he good?
if he's,
okay.
I have no idea one way or another. But I watched him get stepped on by a teammate. It actually made my jaw drop. I was like, no way, dude.
I don't know what was crazier, that injuring your kicker because you step on his foot, or the Indianapolis Colts suffering multiple injuries.
What are the Colts doing in pregame?
Well, one, their
do they have
receiver,
Army boot camp out there?
Yeah.
It's like Navy SEALs training, and it's just yeah, we're getting ready for the game. Here's a whatever rifle. Fire it at each other's face. What is going on over in Indianapolis? It's 2 of them. It was multiple. 3 of them, I think.
It's 3.
What is going on? Guys, we're not trying to hurt each other. It's the other team we're trying to put punishment on. There
was video of the receiver that this was before they put on all their pads, really early on in the pregame, where he ran a route, and I guess their tight end wasn't paying attention and was just walking on the field. So as a receiver, right, you're looking back, and then he just ran into a brick wall and essentially got knocked down, hit his head, and got a concussion. I'm that is such a wild way to to get injured pre-game warm-up, essentially. Like, what are we doing here? But anyways, way up against clock. Okay, we're going to take a break. Well, when we come back, we're just keep.
I was talking for a little bit.
The vibes are vibing, and we love it here on our Monday morning.
We're chatting about Kansei going to the NFL,
Let's
baby.
Go.
Come on.
Let's go, baby. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, though, we will actually let you guys hear a snippet of what the birthday boy, Micah Alejado, happy 21st birthday, Micah Alejado, and what he had to say in that post game when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
See, we're vibing, we're dancing.
Absolute home run by you. Every single one of them so far.
Bangers.
You've hit for almost the cycle.
Woohoo!
We'll
so
see.
One more lap.
I was going to say, you got one
laps.
more to complete the cycle, but
hey.
You know, I think if I had to go through, I think you've got you definitely got the home run. The home run is there. I think that's probably a triple right there because that's the hardest one to do, and it's a perfect mesh. I think we still need the double. We need the double. So we'll see what that last music is for me here. But otherwise, you absolutely tipped the cap out of the ballpark, my friend. You've done excellent.
On our overreaction party Monday, because our overreaction is that Hawaii, and you know what? I don't know. Is it an overreaction? We'll let you guys be the judge of that. That Hawaii is going to be able to vie for one of the top 2 spots in the Mountain West and compete for a Mountain West championship because there's a lot of parity in the conference. And that's the main thing is that you just don't really know. Now, what we saw in Hawaii staying 100% healthy is what we saw against Utah State. And what we've been seeing across the conference, any given week, you're like, I don't even know which team is the best team in the Mountain West because, yes, there are some that are undefeated in conference, but at the same time, they've been pretty close in some of these games. So it's wide open this year. And what a way to cap off the final year of this version of the Mountain West is that at this point in the season, we don't really know. We don't really know who is going to win. Again, barring any injuries, especially for the University of Hawaii, we saw what the complete team can do this past Saturday. All right, well, of course, someone else that had a big game, quarterback Micah Alejado. I know that was one of the are you not entertained type of feelings with Micah putting up all of those numbers that he did. Again, over 400 yards passing. a lot of credit to that receiving core as well, who, like we said, with the exception of Brandon White getting knocked out, as we hope all of the best for him and that he can return soon, we saw a completely healthy receiving core with the return of Nick Senecal, obviously Jackson Harris, and then Pafele Ashlock, and just everyone contributing in all facets of offensively that opened up the running game. And then we started seeing some of these screens, and I just take me back to some of the stuff I saw. But without further ado, we will let you hear a little snippet of what QB1 Micah Alejado had to say in that postgame, and here it is.
Obviously not as fast as we wanted to, and I think we left a lot of points on the board, and I think the rest of the offense feels the same way. But I think as the game went on, we started to feel what they were trying to do and the tendencies and what they were trying to get into. So Coach Chang and Coach Arsenal did a great job at calling plays and thinking of plays that would help. And throughout the progress of the game, it just kind of showed on what they were doing, and we were able to find a lot of deficiencies in their defense. But it was a great game, and it took every single play that we had on the field. So it was great execution by the offense, and looked to be better.
Yeah, Micah, happy birthday. I have two questions. The first is on your touchdown run. That was kind of a similar set and base defense against, that the pick six against Fresno came in, right, where you guys were in empty. They had backers in the A gap trying to mug the line.
Yeah.
And you read it, right? You saw man coverage. So just kind of talk about that play and how you seen that look before and you took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty unfortunate situation against Fresno, and I think that's probably one of the hardest situations a quarterback can face is double mug and bluffing blitzes from backers. But, we saw it on film that they rarely bring all six, and they did the same thing Fresno did, drop out. So one guy ended up being free, and it ended up being the dropper, and made a move on him, and everybody was in man, and just happened so they're all on the other side of the field. So credit goes to the O-line. They held up and did what they're supposed to do on that play, and just let it work out.
And then the second question is kind of a fun question. The song you guys play in the locker room by Waka Flocka Flame, Grove Street Party.
Yeah.
How did that become the song, and who deserves credit for making that the song that you guys jam out?
Coach Chang, that's his song. And he brought it up during fall camp, and, we played at the end of every Thursday practice to get the mood going. So that's all Coach Chang.
Yeah, Mike, happy birthday. Did you have anything special planned, and how was your day as well, like leading up to the game?
It didn't really feel like my birthday, really. Focused on the game all day, but now that we won, probably celebrate 21 how everybody should celebrate 21. So it'd be fun.
There you go. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed your 21st birthday, Micah Alejado. And as someone who spent a lot of his formidable years in Las Vegas, I'm sure he understands the importance of your 21st birthday. And I remember when he was here with us in studio, that one interview, and he said one of his favorite movies is The Hangover. And I kind of chuckled, and I was like, wait a minute, you're not even old enough to experience firsthand what that movie is like, because I get a kick out of The Hangover because we've all kind of been there. And I know my friends and I kind of tab like who would be who in that movie. But Mike, I don't know, 21st. So I hope he had a good and safe, of course, 21st birthday. A lot of people celebrating in October. Timmy Chang was just on Thursday, his birthday as well. Of course, Micah Alejado. Oh, shout out from Alex from Adelaide. He, on Friday, when we were doing the UH football game, he had mentioned that it was his birthday. And then so Alex, one of our YouTube viewers in here as well, he had a birthday last week Friday. Paul's birthday is coming up this month as well.
Week from tomorrow.
So there you go, are the October birthdays. But boy, did Micah Alejado have quite the 21st birthday on the field. Again, back to business today, but that guy definitely deserved to celebrate.
I also celebrated after the game.
Yeah. We all kind of celebrated. I was vibing even yesterday. I was like, I'm going to keep celebrating. I woke up, watched some of the NFL games, took a nap, woke up again. I'm like, the vibes are high. Let's continue this party into Monday. So I'm sure everybody was celebrating as well, as they should. Again, we had our Bama friend over there, birthday last month on September 23rd. We were talking about how there were a lot of September
and
babies,
October,
including
dude.
myself. So hey, there you go. Best months, September and October. We got a lot of birthdays rolling
My
on
wife
into
is
each
also
other.
in September.
Yeah.
They're
See?
great, fantastic times to have birthdays.
See, there you go. So Micah, of course, he's going to have to wait until after the season to celebrate Las Vegas style, please, and he'll hold himself accountable to that. But make it to the Mountain West Championship
hopefully when
game.
they're at UNLV, he's on lockdown.
Yeah,
you know?
no celebrating in Vegas,
Kidding,
and then they're at
of course.
UNLV. We will.
They can celebrate after they win the championship.
But again, a great win overall. I'm trying to go look back at some of my notes that I put on here that we didn't get to mention. That was an important one when we talk about the refs targeting called on Jackie Johnson in the second quarter. Fortunately, it was in the second quarter, so he is eligible to play this next game. Had it been in the second half, he would have had to miss the first half of this game against Colorado State. But you can tell, and that's not a Hawaii, and we talked about this in hour number 1, is that they are a different level of discipline this year. And you could see his reaction, Jackie Johnson, on the sideline, and how devastated he was that he was called for that, because you could tell that that was not the intention. I get that the explanation, I think Kyle Galdera gave it on the Spectrum broadcast show, of the different elements that make up targeting. But this team is not a dirty team, and they've cleaned up a lot of these self-inflicted mistakes that plague them so much, and they can make up for anytime some of these things happen. So fortunately, again, Jackie Johnson will be eligible this next game at Colorado State for the full game. But that was just painful to watch, and again, more painful because I saw how horrible on the sideline Jackie Johnson felt for that. Like he looked like he had tears in his eyes because he got taken out of that game. And I think it was Timmy Chang that was like trying to console him and be like, hey man, it's okay. But the fact that there was that much emotion over something like that, just proves even more so how disciplined this team is, how high of a level of expectation they have for themselves. Like, we think we have this expectation now. They have this for themselves, and you can see just the reaction, how they don't stop playing. I mean, those 2 massive turnovers that Jemai Otis forced came towards the ending of the game. I mean, Utah State was driving, and here Jemai Otis, I mean, they had that return and he punched it out. Like, the little things that they are being taught and by this coaching staff, and the what they're able to put out on the football field, like, is just a testament to why we have like this type of optimism now, is because all of these little things, and Timmy Chang mentioned in his post game, the fundamentals, that's what they focused on, one game at a time. They focus on the fundamentals, and when you see it happen in these games, and see the reaction to someone like Jackie Johnson, who missed the entire second half because of that unfortunate targeting penalty that was called on him, but you saw just his demeanor and just devastated by that, where sometimes we see players get, it's more of a, oh man, I'm going to miss the game. But just the reaction from Jackie Johnson, you could feel it was a genuine, like, I got to do better than that. Like, now I'm not in there with my team. Like, just the hurt that he felt. And that's just a testament to across the board what this team is this season.
I hated that targeting call.
My gosh.
And I understand it. I talked to a couple of different, like, I chatted with Kyle Galdera, and I chatted with a couple of other people who are familiar with the rules. I get it. I do understand the criteria and needing to hit these, and if it does hit these or whatever it may be. To consider launching to go up like that, to me, that's a natural movement. To me, that is a natural play in a sport that is built upon car accident type of collisions on every single play. And I understand trying to keep the game safe and trying to discourage hits, but I feel similarly to how the NFL calls roughing the passer as well, where we have gone too far at this point, where we are putting unrealistic expectations. We're also taking away from part of just what the game is. Because like you said, it was very clear the intent from Jackie Johnson was not to launch his helmet into the bottom of Bryson Barnes' face. Like that wasn't what happened. It was him coming down, trying to bend around, coming up, and as he throws, the body elongates out a little bit more, his head goes up, and it just goes pop. Did the hit suck? I'm sure it did. But also, do I look at that and be like, oh, targeting? No. And this is my frustration, okay, is that we see so many different plays throughout a weekend in college football. This is not a UH issue. This is not a Mountain West issue. This is a college football issue in general. It is such a severe punishment to have to miss an entire half of either that game or the next game. It's a suspension of sorts, essentially, that we can't have things where I'm sitting there in the press box watching it in slow motion, and I like to think I'm relatively knowledgeable when it comes to football. Obviously, I don't study the rule book the way that coaches or officials would. But if I, as a little more than a casual football fan, am watching that play and I'm like, oh, it's just a big hit, that results in a suspension and ejection. And like, we got to change it so that it is not that. Like, whatever, if it's a personal foul, helmet-to-helmet contact, cool, whatever. Like, that's fine by me. To eject someone over that, it's ridiculous. It's too much. It's not for people's safety. It gives too much power to officials, where you see moments where they're like, oh, well, this can constitute as a launch. Well, what if I say I disagree? I disagree. It doesn't constitute as a launch. Now all of a sudden, it's a subjective difference. Because I could say, I don't think you're being objective with that. I think you need to allow for natural movement. Like, I know I'm getting on a soapbox and whatever,
when we go
but
back,
it's ridiculous.
Like traditionally targeting, when I envision targeting, I think of like Vontez Burfict type of hit. That's what the game did not need.
If somebody is trying to legitimately take somebody out, a helmet to helmet, you are a missile going to try and take someone out, I absolutely get it.
Because the game doesn't need that. Like,
but that's not what happened.
I'm glad they got rid of that. And I know they wanted to protect the quarterback, but then and I know it's a completely different officiating crew, but then you go back to like that Fresno State game when they're trying to take out Micah Alejado's legs, and you're like, that wasn't called, but then this is like or even just slapping the helmet of the quarterback is like, oh, this is targeting now because you were aiming for the head, and yet our quarterback was under duress against Fresno State, and they were legitimately going for his knees the entire time, and you're like, can stand there and be like, oh yeah, that doesn't deserve any type of correction or penalty. And that's where there's like this weird disconnect in both college and NFL football.
It just doesn't make sense.
Like, can we at least play football again? I 100% support the traditional targeting.
I want everyone to be safe.
Burfict style. Like, it's just disgusting.
But
like,
I also want them to be able to play football. I want the defense to have a chance. You know?
Like, let's go. And like, actually, this is a rough sport, and let's let them play how it's a rough sport.
It's part of what you sign up for.
Like I said, frankly. I think, fortunately, again, Jackie Johnson will be in action and allowed to play in that game against Colorado State because they're going to need it. I didn't even mention this, that our friends at Circa yesterday's Hawaii opened as the 2-point underdog going over to Colorado State. And guess what? We like being the underdogs here. So we'll see how much, if at all, that line moves at all. I know in some places Hawaii was the 2.5 point underdog, but I think that's about right. Again, seeing what Colorado State was able to do against Fresno State at home, and now they're playing a Hawaii team that's coming into town that lost to Fresno State at home. Odds makers are, but yet at the same time, they saw what Hawaii did against Utah State, and they're like, all right, we still got to give Hawaii some of this credit, where Colorado State is essentially getting the home field advantage when you look at this point spread with Hawaii coming into town. Because just like when we looked at this this Utah State Hawaii matchup, I feel the same way. Hawaii going to Colorado State is like, I don't know what to expect at this point, but I expect some fireworks, and this is I will be even more obnoxious about Mountain West Championship berth if Hawaii can beat Colorado State on the road, come back home with that win. Again, I will be, as if this is already not Overreaction Monday about penciling in Hawaii in the Mountain West Championship game. Overreaction next week, Monday, Hawaii coming back with a win after playing Colorado State in Fort Collins. I'm gonna get Paul a set of pom-poms so that we both have pom-poms at this point, because it is going to, again, got to take care of business, but we will stay optimistic until we can't.
Pretty much. No, the question, and we'll get into this as the week goes on, the question now shifts to consistency, right? Consistency week over week, not just playing at home, but taking your act on the road. We saw it once against Air Force. Now that I've seen you do it once, now it's not unfair of me to expect you to do it again. Now it's on you to be consistent. Like I said, we'll get into that as the week goes on.
All right, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about college football. I know there was some firings and everything. Maybe get into a little bit of NFL to close things out. I know that Paul is chomping at the bit to talk about NFL football at this point, but we'll be back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. So shout out to all of you guys for tuning in and commenting and having a Monday morning party with us, celebrating that win again over Utah State. And again, back to business for the football team, but we will enjoy this overreaction Monday, and we're going to tab them in, especially if Hawaii can come out with another road win at Colorado State. The vibes will be vibing. We're going to have to top the party.
The thing is,
we'll worry about that if we get there.
We get there, and
we'll
when we
stick
get
to
there,
our party celebrating Utah State win today.
But we didn't even bring this up. Like, yeah, great, proving consistency, going on the road to win, blah 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 blah. The next win Hawaii has clinches them a bowl.
True.
And it'd be the first bowl of the Timmy Chang era. So that is easy enough to celebrate to me. The return to the postseason. Sports are about winning. They're about more than that. But sports, for our purposes, sports are about winning. I can't imagine how awesome it's been so far for Timmy, but his record's still under 500. So I'm sure he's still chomping at the bit. He wants to have as good a season as possible. He wants to make it so that for years in the future, him going over 500 is just adding to the career record rather than trying to get back to the median line, right? This has been an awesome year. It'll be easy to party after their next win. But luckily, I don't think they're worried about, how many wins can we get? They're worried about, let's win this week, then win next week. And that's just the case.
By the way, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Penn State, Stanford, Virginia Tech, UAB, UCLA, and probably others pay no mind to what Hawaii football is doing right now.
Listen, UCLA has their guy. First off, shout out Tim Skipper. I know. Is it Jerry
True.
Neuheiser?
That's true.
Ken Neuheiser? Whatever.
Jerry. Technically, yeah, UCLA probably has their guy, so it's
I don't
fine.
know. But shout out to Tim Skipper because he does deserve credit as well. I love the fact that the kid, he's 30, is getting like a lot of credit as the OC and all this stuff. I do want to say Tim Skipper's name because he came into not a pretty situation either, and all of a sudden UCLA looks like people are asking what the hell was Deshaun Foster doing during practice.
Dude, I know. Everyone's like, wow. I mean, there were talks, and we know that little flub at the Big Ten Media Days was kind of, but it's like, dang, Deshaun Foster was that bad that.
Yeah.
I also saw a funny tweet about like, oh, when a school doesn't do the nepotism thing or they took too long. They're like, how about we don't do this whole thing where we just elevate people that's part of the family and the coaching tree. And then Neuheisel comes in, as we talked about it before. His dad, obviously a broadcaster now, but used to be the head coach and quarterback, all of that stuff. And they took this long to elevate his son to calling plays. And now UCLA just looks like this completely different team. But I said those schools because if you guys didn't know, those are all the schools so far that I saw where they have the head coaching vacancies for their football program. Obviously, Penn State, the one that was the talk of the town, and surprised but not surprised. It was kind of writing on the wall that James Franklin's time would be there. There was always that knock against him not being able to win the big games. And then he started losing the games that he should have won now this season. And that's what ultimately led to his firing. And now that job's open, but don't feel too bad for that guy because he still gets paid $50 million to do nothing. So he's fine.
I would kill to get fired and get $50 million.
I think he's going to be okay, as James Franklin is.
I can lose big games with elite recruits. If you want to pay somebody $25 million to get fired, I can lose big games with elite recruits if you want. I'm just putting it. I'm from the East Coast. Like as much as I love my job here, there is a number I can be bought for.
To do nothing. And God. Exactly. So again, like Penn State losing to Oregon and then to UCLA and then losing to Northwestern. And that is just exactly how the career crumbled for James Franklin. But I mentioned pay no mind to all these head coaching vacancies because, like what Timmy Chang has built, again, with very limited resources, it is just a testament to him and this entire coaching staff, especially the ones that have been here for the beginning, especially to someone like Dennis Thurman, who could have had bigger coaching gigs, but he comes here and it's just another day. I mentioned to you, Paul, during the break where we were on the field when the game ended yesterday or Saturday, and Dennis Thurman, everyone's celebrating, as they should. This is another huge win for Timmy and a lot of these young coaches. But Dennis Thurman, being the veteran coach that he
Business as usual.
he just like walked off the field, and not in a grumpy way. He was just like, "Oh, just another day."
But
they did their job. My guys did their job, and I'm ready. Like my evening is done. I'm gonna go. And I was just like, "Oh, he's already okay." That's DT though.
To me, that's notable because it is business as usual, right? And you hear the phrase, the old adage of like, "Act like you've been there before."
Yeah,
DT's been there before. He's won football games before. He's won big games. He's been ready to go and whatever. And like, yes, everybody else can celebrate, but when that's your leader for the defensive side, that's why I'm confident in them to be able to step up in big games because the leadership, and that goes all the way from top down. Timmy Chang, a lot more calm and whatever. Like he knows when to let it out, when to show his emotions, but also he knows when to be reserved. Game's not over yet, or whatever. We still got more work to do. Like the growth as a leader of Timmy Chang, I gotta imagine Dennis Thurman has played a big role in that. I gotta imagine that other coaches have played massive. Jeff Reinbold's come back in and kind of been like, all right, this is how we used to do things, and get that feeling back. I don't know. I'm so excited for this coaching staff and for the guys. They deserve it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Matt Elliott, I trust in Matt Elliott to start to already evaluate potentially, a little bit of a bump, a contract extension. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. There's still a lot more to prove. But should Hawaii be able to solidify a berth into the bowl game, and we'll see how the result of this final stretch of the conference season works out, this is a conversation that Matt Elliott needs to start having, especially when it comes to...
It's better to get ahead of it than be behind it.
We know Timmy has one more year. He was given that extension by Lois Mannon, as he should have given. That I thought that was a fair extension because she, as someone who was more of the acting athletic director, you didn't want to make too big of a decision for a very important position for your university, but still be able to at least give Timmy Chang, for recruiting purposes, the fact that, hey, he's still going to be here for another year. But should this be the official turnaround and we start seeing these successes, and now we have a permanent athletic director in place, you see vacancies all across the country, schools that have a lot of money. We saw it happen with Nick Rolovich. Now, I feel like Timmy Chang genuinely does want to be here, but that doesn't mean we should take advantage of the fact that, like, oh, he loves this place. Like, he always chooses to stay here. You need to reward him now. He's getting paid $500,000 as, again, someone who didn't have any head coaching experience. I think that's entirely fair. He had to prove himself and this coaching staff. And now that they look like they have, this is when you start to say, hey, this guy should get maybe this extension that comes with a raise, especially, and to come, not a raise for just himself, for the coaching staff, because you want to keep those good coaches there as well. Timmy can't do it entirely by himself. Whatever it takes to get them here, provide the resources to make recruiting that much easier for Timmy, considering there is no stadium and there won't be one for another 4 years. All of these things now are the discussions that Matt Elliott, and I have full faith that he is already starting to plan for that, because you cannot lose the momentum that you have whatsoever, right? And you don't want it to be, you lose this because you didn't try to get ahead of it and to try to give this coach and the coaching staff what they potentially look like they're going to deserve should this season end up how we have believed so far that it will. You need to start, and you can't just go into next season like, oh yeah, you got a year, or just give him a contract extension with no raise. Like, this is when Hawaii needs to pony up and be like, you see the optimism and how happy the state is, the student athletes, all the merchandise and tickets that they are like selling. You got to reward them now. If this season ends up in the most optimistic vision that we are planning for and manifesting, got to get ahead of it and make sure that none of these bigger schools, because as much as Timmy loves here, as much as someone like myself loves here, and Timmy Chang is probably a way better person than I am.
There's always a number.
There's always a number.
There is always a number.
And Penn State has proven, now I'm not saying Penn State's going to come knocking per se, but I'm saying a lot of these football programs have proven that it's more important to win football games than the money is, because $50 million can go a long way to NIL, to other things. And they were like, hey, we're losing football games. We're okay with parting with $50 million if it means we can start winning football games again. So that's where I'm saying.
Make that money back a lot quicker.
These top schools, look at Colorado, bringing in Coach Prime. It's like they made so much money with that injection into their football program, and got to get ahead of it, where if this season plays out how we're manifesting,
even if it doesn't play out to that ceiling, even if it goes 8-4, 9-3, something along those lines, if they are even close to what we think they can be this year, I'm a big proponent of getting ahead of it, right? Mm-hmm. You'd rather be a year early than a year late, because if you're a year late, then it doubles the price. It makes things much more difficult. Maybe you lose some of the staff. Maybe then all of a sudden the program is losing some of the play. Like, the last thing you want to do when you finally have found stability for the Hawaii program is throw any type of wrench in that stability.
Yep. And there's only one that understands that. It is Matt Elliott. So I'm sure, like I said, we're speaking as if he probably hasn't been thinking this already. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to close it out here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. our world.
Wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
It's more of our calming music now.
You'll notice I didn't make a bad face about it.
We had to.
I'm very pleased.
Our overreaction, Positivity Monday, manifesting all kinds of stuff for this UH football program after that massive win over Utah State. And like we always say, we're going to keep being optimistic and have our positive Paul hat on until we can't anymore. So, and if Hawaii can come back with a win at Colorado State, then we've got to find a way to top off like a bigger party next week Monday, because then it's really this manifestation, obviously, or all of a sudden turns into a reality. And earlier in the previous segment, we were kind of talking about how Timmy Chang and the contract stuff. Now going into year 5, he does his base salary has gone up, and he will make just over $800,000 going back to the contract. But we're kind of talking like, all right, give a bit extra of a bump to the people on this staff, and make sure you retain a lot of your assistant coaches, because you know what happens in college football when you are even coordinators or assistants that are part of
isn't just limited to players.
Your assistants and everyone gets taken as well if you're a successful football program. So we got to shout out though our guy Colin. He should definitely get a raise because he's in our YouTube chat, and that is my reasoning, and we're sticking to it. So Colin,
I just like Colin because Colin and I,
or AKA the Lord Schaefer in our YouTube.
We're just I'm trying to go golfing with Colin at some point. Just in general, I'm very pleased for this team. I'm really excited for the program. I hope that it doesn't seep into the locker room. And that's the thing that we've kind of harped on this entire first hour, goodness gracious, this entire show, which is just, you don't want to let the outside noise come on in. You still have to take care of business. You still have to make everything. You still have to, you got to take care of business.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a very nice job. I'm very excited for them. I hope they finish it out this year because, man, oh man, they've done everything you could ask them to through 7 weeks.
Here are some of the incentives. I wanted to look it up. I knew that there was a minimum base salary for Coach Chang, but then there were also a lot of incentives because now the last few years, the incentives really didn't seem like much of a reality, but now it could be. So, and as we know that there are these incentives worked into his contract. So looking back at it, let's see, $50,000 bonus if Hawaii, participates in the Mountain West Championship game. So that's $50,000.
It's a great reason to do so.
The Mountain West Championship game, $100,000. $10,000 if Hawaii is bowl eligible but not invited. If they'll get invited to the Hawaii Bowl. $20,000 if Hawaii participates in the bowl game. Only payable if Hawaii does not make the Mountain West Championship game. So do you get $40,000 if Hawaii wins a bowl game. Let's see, $300,000 if Hawaii participates in a non-playoff New Year's Six bowl game, which will be interesting to see if they. That's definitely a reach, but if they somehow get invited to an even bigger bowl game, I don't know how that would happen. The Hawaii Bowl needs to keep them here for all revenue purposes, but that'll be interesting. $1 million if Hawaii wins the national championship, which I feel like
low.
It should be bigger.
I was going to say, that feels like not enough.
Wait a minute.
It feels like it should be like 2.5 type thing.
Yeah. Just real quick, someone texting in if we know DT's contract info. I do not, but I will try to find out. And again, it's like, we're just fortunate to have him here for as long as he wants to be here. All right. Well, that about wraps us up with this party on this Monday morning, Paul. I'm actually so sad that we have to go, but luckily, we have the rest of the week as well. But for now, we got to go. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching. It's been Wake Up in the Den. Bye!